What's up, friends? Today I am bringing you on a day hike to see some beautiful fall foliage in a place that I think might be one of the most beautiful spots for hiking in the entire world. Also on today's day hike, I'm going to share with you some of my tips for packing and prepping and preparing for a day hike, which means that we have to back this video up in time and take you to last night when I was getting ready. This is my show, gosh darn. It is the night before my hike, and I have a couple of things that I do to prepare for my hike that I want to share with all of you. The first thing is that I leave my packed bag by the door with my shoes, my water, all of my food, basically everything that I'm going to need for my hike tomorrow ready to go. I will show you everything that I have in that bag tomorrow when we are on our hike. The reason I do this is I want to make sure that there's no reason in the morning for me to be like running about trying to gather stuff that's going to delay me leaving. So having my bag all packed and ready to go is kind of clutch. I have my iPad here in front of me because I am doing some final research on the trail. So I'm actually looking at the trail page for 8 Mile Lake. This has all of the length and the elevation gain and all of the information that I used to pick this hike. What I'm looking at here are the most recent trip reports and any alerts about the trail. I'm essentially just double checking to see if there's anything timely that I need to be aware of. And then I'm also gonna double check the weather. This I think is a really important step for me to do the night before a hike so that I can go to sleep knowing that I have gathered all of the information that I need for my hike tomorrow and can feel as prepared as possible for whatever the day is going to throw at me. And the only thing left to do before I take you all out on the hike tomorrow is for me to get a good night's sleep. So I'm gonna take you to the kitchen and I will show you what my nighttime routine looks like before a hike. Do you like my pajamas? Do you like my pajamas, Tucker? He's a good boy. Tucker is very excited because he thinks he's going with us tomorrow, but he's not. I'm sorry, Bubba. You can't come. It's a no dogs allowed trail. And we listen to the rules. So I take my nighttime routine kind of seriously. I have dealt with insomnia a lot in the past, and I often feel like if I have a lot of stress about getting enough sleep, then I won't get enough sleep because I'm too stressed for it. So I want to share what my nighttime routine looks like with all of you because it has definitely helped me sleep better and then feel more refreshed for hike in the morning. This is kind of the rock star for my evening routine. This is Beam's Dream Powder, and it's a blend of melatonin and L-theanine and other things that help you fall asleep and for me also stay asleep. Dream Powder comes in so many different flavors. This one is the chocolate peanut butter flavor, and it is my personal favorite. My problems with sleep are definitely made worse by my anxiety. And sometimes I'll be so stressed about not getting enough sleep that I won't be able to sleep at all. But Beam has helped me sleep through the night and wake up feeling awesome. And because of that, it's also helped me develop this really positive experience at night where I'm actually looking forward to my evening routine instead of feeling stressed or anxious about the possibility of not sleeping well. Beam is actually running their biggest sale of the year, and you can get 50% off on Beam for a limited time. You just have to go to the link below or scan the QR code that is on my screen and use the code CYBER at checkout. Beam has become a vital part of my evening routine, and I would not be recommending this to you all if I didn't use it authentically every single night. With that, I have a big hike tomorrow morning, so I will see you all in the morning. Good night. Woo! So the area that we're in is called the Alpine Lakes Wilderness, and it is one of the most popular and heavily used areas in all of Washington. What this means is that even day users have to fill out these permits, essentially to help the Forest Service track how many people are coming in and out of here and how much maintenance the trail might need. So even though we're just day hiking, we have to fill out a little permit. Boop. And this gets attached to my pack. Ooh. Wow. Oh my gosh. Look at this fog just hanging on this ridge up there. Just so beautiful. Let's hike. So we are just starting out on this hike, and one of the things that people always say about hiking is that you should be bold and start cold, which essentially just means don't wear a ton of layers when you first start hiking. And that's a good tip because then as you're moving, you sweat, you get warm, you don't want to be sweating into all of your extra layers. But nonetheless, the first several steps of a cold hike are cold. In the summertime, this would have been probably no more than a light flow. But like as it starts to rain and it gets colder, this is just going to be running like crazy. Yay! Wow, so beautiful. I'm actually carrying the REI Flash 22 pack, which is a pretty lightweight and simple day pack. This isn't the bag that I always use, but it is the one that I opted to use today. One thing about this pack though is that it doesn't have any hip belt pockets. So you'll see, I instead have this like super cool Weibo fanny pack. So in my little fanny pack right now, I have my cell phone in this little bungee pocket, my snack. And I also have the little mic pack where I can see that my mic is rolling and all that stuff. And then there's one little pocket at the very front, which is where I have some trash. And that's it. Whoa. Bridge! Woohoo! Oh, cool, what are these? It looks like spooky corn. It's Halloween month, so spooky plants are very appropriate right now. This whole area that we're hiking through right now is actually a wildfire burn zone. This part of Washington is actually really prone to wildfires. Inherently, wildfires aren't bad. There's actually some benefit to burns and controlled burns, but it is something that people who live in this area and those of us who recreate in this area have to be really careful about, as evidenced by the trees around me. No, this is, who did? No, do not do this to these logs. I mean, this is really pretty, even just right here. Very, very pretty. Cool. Looking for slugs. It's like perfect slurg time. Because it's wet. Slugs come out when it's wet. That sounds really dirty. Where are you, sluggies? Yay, nature. See our sun trying to poke out. It actually makes this really perfect weather for hiking because there's no like direct sun on you. The temperature's pretty mild. 10 out of 10. What in the heck? Look at this fungus. It looks like pancake batter. It's growing out of the cracks in this log. I really do feel like I need to get a second degree in like fungology, mushroomology. I think fungus is so fascinating. I love it. Mating swarm. I'm looking at this mating swarm of bugs. Picture this, because you can't see the mating swarm on camera. There's a bunch of little gnats all flying around in a circle. They like fly about and like fling their spermies out in the world, and other bugs like fly into them. It could also be wrong. All I know is that they might be flying around, flinging something out that then other insects run into, and then that's how they make more insects. Science.
So is this like going anywhere, or are we just walking for no reason?
It's going somewhere.
I'm pretty sure there's absolutely nothing going on. Well, where are we going?
We're going to 8 Mile Lake.
Oh yeah? Is that where Eminem lives?
No. This is actually a pretty short hike. It's only about 6 miles round trip. So we should be coming up on the lake in maybe like a mile or so. And as you can see, we've mostly just been kind of staying low and winding up and down through these valleys, beneath the mountains, getting to see the fall colors. Listen, I'm just saying, the leaves changing color out here are really pretty, but they're not as pretty as they are on the East Coast. I'm just saying, on the East Coast, you get these like big, fat, red leaves. They're like, blah. It's like pretty like yellows and golds.
Are you quoting from Walden or like something with that?
Forget you. Look at these chonky McChunkerkins. This feels like it made good toilet paper. Don't you think? Do you want to hear about my shoes? I am wearing my Ultra Trail Runners. Can we talk about my socks though? Look at this look. Got some Smartwool socks. We got some Athleta hybrid cargo tights. We have a wool buff, my Sky Goat hoodie, Smartwool hoodie base layer in here, my Flash 22 pack. I have a lightweight Nalgene on this side. I have a cool cloth strapped to the back. I have one of my trekking poles. I have my Canuck soft-sided bottle, and then I just have the GoPro. I'm also wearing these lightweight liner gloves. These are REI brand. I know I said that the weather is pretty mild, but it is still cold enough that my Raynaud's is acting up. Raynaud's is this condition where basically the tips of my fingers, or even sometimes my entire hand, will go totally white and numb. If you are someone who is particularly prone to numb fingers, I would definitely recommend getting a very lightweight liner glove and just like always keeping it in your day pack when the weather starts to get even a little bit on the chilly side. And then last but not least, I have here my Instinct Solar watch. So it shows you how high up we've come. It shows you how long we've been hiking. It shows you the distance that we've gone, shows you my heart rate. This watch actually charges in the sun. So the whole face of this watch is a solar panel. It also has a really long battery life, which means that I love this watch, not only for day hikes, but also for backpacking trips. And it's just really fantastic. All right, I'm gonna finish my hike up to the lake and I will show you everything that is in my pack once we get up there. Whoop-de-doo. Gotta say, I'm loving the ease of this hike. Mist on the mountains, larches in the sky. Ah! I just got yelled at by a small animal. It was like, eh. Okay, limbo challenge. I can't limbo on this. Anna really wants to limbo, so.
Okay, you ready? Are you ready?
Yep.
How low can you go?
Oh my God. Was it worth it?
No.
Here's a day hiking tip for you. Don't do dangerous things, just for the hell of it. Oh my God. Superstar. Ooh, yeah. Pretty. We've arrived at 8 Mile Lake. I've arrived here at beautiful 8 Mile Lake. So I've already told you what's on the outside of my pack. Let's dive into what is on the inside. Scram!
Oh my God!
Sorry, there's very aggressive chipmunks at this lake. Here's a day hiking tip for you. Do not feed the wildlife. Anyway, back to the backpack. First things, in this very top pocket, I actually only have one thing, and that is my Garmin InReach Mini. The InReach Mini is a satellite communicator, which means that I can actually use this to text people when I am out of cell service, as well as use it as an SOS. Ideally, this would be somewhere super easy to access, such as either in my fanny pack or strapped to my shoulder strap. But I actually broke the clip that comes with this, so I have just been keeping it in a pocket that's easy to access. I almost always carry a satellite messenger with me. This has an SOS button on the side here, so if something bad were to happen and I were to need to call for help, I can actually open up this little flap and then press and hold that SOS button and get emergency help out here. I am by no means saying that you have to have a satellite messenger if you are day hiking or if you're backpacking, but I do think that it is a fantastic device, particularly if you do this stuff solo. Ta-da! Ah! They're so cute and so annoying. Look at the little butts as they run away. Now to the main body of the bag. This Flash 22 pack is a really simple pack. So there's really just kind of one big bucket in the inside. Get out of here. The stuff that I brought on this fall hike today is actually very similar to what I bring year-round on day hikes. To some extent, I am covering some part of the 10 essentials with everything in my day hiking bag. If you're not familiar with the 10 essentials, they are food, water, fire, fix-it, first aid, insulation, illumination, navigation, sun, and shelter. We talk about those mostly when it comes to backpacking, but some version of the 10 essentials should always be carried with you whenever you are hiking. Now, before you're like, whoa, Miranda, I'm not gonna bring a shelter with me when I'm hiking. It's like, okay, that's fair enough, but at least I can go, well, I have my rain jacket, I have some sort of protection from the elements, I know that I'm in an area where I can be covered by trees. That concept of the 10 essentials. It's like what we're trying to get with all of our day hiking gear. First up, we have my sit pad. This is a ultralight sit pad from Garage Grown Gear, and I brought this one so that I could sit on it, but also because I can slide it in the back of this pack, and that actually provides a little bit of additional support, which makes a lightweight bag like this with no frame more comfortable for carrying heavier stuff. Next up, I am going to stuff my poofy Apex Torrid jacket in the bottom. I brought this just in case it got really cold on the hike, but so far we've been moving enough that it hasn't been a problem. So instead I'm just gonna use this as a little bit of extra cushion on the bottom of my back. Next, I have my Sawyer Squeeze water filter. It might seem weird to bring a water filter on a short 6-mile day hike, but I wanted to make sure to bring this filter so that if I needed to filter water, I had the ability to do so. This is mostly just an emergency item. This is just in case I need it. I can use it easily with the bottles that I brought, and it gives me a huge amount of peace of mind. So, Sawyer Squeeze filter, just shoved somewhere on the inside of the backpack. Then I have my other trekking pole. Now the Flash 22 pack does actually have a place where you can attach trekking poles on the outside, but it doesn't work super well when the pack is not totally full, and I have plenty of space in my bag to put this on the inside, so that is where it's going. Next up, I have my headlamp. This is the Nightcore headlamp. As we get deeper into fall and the days get shorter, it becomes more and more important to have some kind of light source in case you get stuck out longer than you expect. Headlamp, which also is just chucked into my bag. And then the last two things that are going in my pack are my rain jacket and my first aid kit. We did have a good amount of rain when we first started hiking, but never enough that I felt like I needed my rain jacket. However, if it got so damp and so rainy that I got soaked through, then that would be a huge problem for hypothermia. So I brought my rain jacket, and that is just gonna get stuffed on the very top of my bag because if it starts to rain, I want super easy access to it. And then last but not least, we have my first aid kit. So in my first aid kit, I have obviously all of my first aid supplies, but then I also have a small lighter. I have a little bit of repair tape and cordage, and that kind of covers my first aid fix it and repair stuff as well as fire. This is the exact same first aid kit that I bring on all of my backpacking trips. So that goes in my pack as well. I hope that if you are watching this video and you're like imagining that day hikes always have to be really hard and really challenging and you like pack all this stuff, like that's really not true at all. This is this beautiful lake in one of the most gorgeous places in the entire world, and the hike to get here was a pretty flat, easy 3 miles. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't be prepared. Like obviously I'm carrying a lot of stuff in this pack that I never had to use or even have to open, but it just means having it so that you can appreciate the hike. Ta-da! That covers everything that I am carrying in my day pack. Right here in the beautiful Alpine Lakes Wilderness, we actually had a record year for rescues of day hikers who were out hiking and were unprepared. So to avoid being that person, I am sharing with you all of my tips for day hiking, hopefully so that you can feel really prepared and really ready for the hike, and also just know how important it is to research the hike that you were going to do and to go with probably more stuff than you think you might need. Great, that is it. I have a few more day hiking tips to share, but I will share those on our hike out. These little trees, they're like little Charlie Brown's Christmas trees. Hi, little bud. You're doing a really good job growing. Keep it up. This tree has had a setback. It's okay. Size does not matter. I told you that I had a few more tips for you, and those are 3 things that can easily be summarized as having a plan for after your hike. First up is having a plan for how to get out of the trailhead. Many trailheads are going to be in pretty remote areas where you don't have cell service, so it's really important to have some idea of how you got to the trailhead so you can easily get yourself back to a main highway and then back home. Next, have a plan for yourself and your gear when you get back to your car. For me personally, I know that I always like having a little blankie and a pair of cozy shoes to put on when I finish a hike. And I also want to have some way to store my dirty or muddy gear in the back of my car so it's not going to get everything super messy. This is also super important if you're carpooling with a bunch of people. If all of us are going to get really wet while we're hiking, do you need to spring towels to sit on? You know, are you going to provide that? Do we need paper towels or wipes in the car? Just kind of the basics of when we get back to the car, how do we very quickly and easily get back into the car and get on our way home? And the final part of this is having a plan for food and water when you get done with your hike. There have been so many times on hikes, even recently, where I have fully tapped my water, and I have luckily had like a liter or sometimes a whole gallon of water in the car that I know is like waiting for me when I return. But if you don't have that and you run out of water, you're oftentimes going to be really far from any place where you can like pick up water or fill a water bottle. So if that's the case, when you're on your hike down, I would highly recommend filtering water with that water filter that you brought, so you at least have something when you get back to the car. And then finally, having a plan for food when you finish your hike. This could be just like bringing extra food in the car, having snacks waiting for you, pre-making sandwiches or whatever. But my personal favorite thing to do is to look up a place where I can get food on my drive home. One thing to keep in mind is that a lot of trailheads are located in like pretty rural areas where you're not gonna have a ton of options for food. And there's nothing that sucks more than being like, oh, there's a burger joint that's 30 minutes down the road, and then driving there and finding out that it's closed. So check the hours of local restaurants, check to see how far away they are, check to make sure you're like happy with the menu, and then plan on that as your little like post-hike treat. I am almost back to my trailhead, so I'm gonna say goodbye to all of you. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful fall day hike, and I hope you got some idea of how I pack and plan and prepare for my day hikes so you can apply it to your own hiking adventures. If you liked this video, make sure that you hit the like button and you subscribe to my channel, and with that, I will see you all outside. Bye! A lone man looks out over the fall day. He ponders his existence. He wonders, which burger will he eat tonight?
Hungry.
All right, we're gonna go now, bye. Look at that rock climbing chipmunk. It's probably like V6 at max. It's just climber lingo, you wouldn't get it.
Okay, well,
It's just for the cooler kids.
yeah, because that's you.
Yeah.